guys, thanks for coming. Has anyone not been to a workshop before?
Me.
Right, oh wow,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Right, so how it works, I'll give you a quick lowdown. Halfway through, we take a little tea break, everyone can smoke, coffee and all that sort of jazz. You each charge the batteries, and then, so the first half will be hardscape, normally,
yes,
in it?
normally, yeah.
And then it's planting after that. So, yeah, if you want to put your hands together for Pavol.
Hello everyone, and welcome. Thanks for everybody for coming. I'm feeling really honored to be here with you. Thank you, Nicole and James, for inviting me over. It's really great pleasure to be here and have this opportunity to scape something in this beautiful aquarium. So let me introduce myself first a little bit. Maybe some of you already know me. My name is Pavol Kulanda. You're probably thinking, where's his name coming from? It's not really sounding Irish. So I'm from Slovakia originally. I immigrated 18 years ago to Northern Ireland, where I think makes sense. At first it was just for 1 year, like a work experience, learning some English. Then I wanted to go back to uni, but you know, in life, plans change all the time. So then family came later on, kids were born, we just settled in Northern Ireland. Me as a hobby, I'm not a professional aquascaper, just sometimes maybe I will create something for other people who want to get into hobby, help them to start. It's just a hobby of mine and passion for last 8 years. 6 years, that was the first time when I started introducing plants, because I was a fish keeper for many years. And I wanted always to look my tanks very natural. I kept cichlids for many years. You know all well that they don't really go well with plants. Even anubias get eaten, it's just the rhizome will stay. So yeah, when I start searching, you know, what am I gonna do with plants, how you care for them, I came across aquascaping online, mostly from, let's say, Takashi Amami work, but all other scapers as well. And I was hooked straight away. And when I saw these amazing like carpets, full carpets growing, I didn't understand how it's possible. So yeah, that got me into hobby. And from 6 years before, since 6 years ago, I started entering contests because you know in the hobby when I started keeping planted tanks, I always wanted to do better and better, make them look nicer and more complex. So I think the contest aquascaping is a really good way to do that, you know, to improve your skills every year, because you're trying to improve your world ranking in the contest. But it shouldn't be important as much, you know, we should always try and enjoy what we are doing. So yeah, that's it. Basically, I'll show you today how to aquascape this aquarium. Yesterday when I arrived, here since yesterday, I talked to Nicole and James, you know, what would be nice to have in the gallery. I chose the plants beforehand because I already saw the works, you know, they have here on Aquascapes from online. I thought that some plants would be good to have here, something different. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a classic nature aquarium, which you're all familiar with. It's still a lot to do in 4 hours, but it's not gonna be really focused on like real contest aquascape. But we'll try maybe, you know, explain some techniques that we use when you're setting up the tanks, and you can also apply them at your home, because it's always good to have these techniques at the back of your mind, how to make your aquascapes the best looking and what to consider. So I'm gonna go for nature style, yeah. And the hardscape wise, I think we should maybe start talking about hardscape a little bit, because that's the first step that we're gonna do. I find hardscape probably the most exciting time in planning your aquascape. You're already considering what way you're gonna go, what's your idea. This is really a very important step. When you have that idea, make it clear and easy to understand. So if you have at the back of your mind you're going for nature style, try and do the nature style. If you're going for, let's say you're going to do diorama forest, try and stick with that diorama forest, which is sometimes really hard, because I in my aquascape sometimes start with diorama and finish with nature aquarium. Especially after contest 4, when I just stop maybe caring that much and it starts getting overgrown and you're losing details. Yeah, so let's start. As I said, the Hardscape probably the most important part because it's already giving you that idea, the concept. Creates platform also for the planting. Like in this case, I chosen plants beforehand, so this is the other way around, which is probably sometimes more difficult. But when I came in the shop and I saw the hardscape materials, it was easy to choose. You know, there's lots of great stuff, and so it's the other way around. You know, I had to sort of select the hardscape that will fit my idea of planting, which we'll talk about later. But I'll start introducing first the Aqua Forest Lava Stone Black, which is basically lava stone. It's great to build a height, so you can maybe save some money on your expensive aqua soil. And it's not just about that, it's actually not really inert substrate, it also has some nutrients for plants. And let me move the light first. Also have some nutrients for the plants, which is very important. And it also helps to colonize bacteria in the substrate because it's very porous, which bacteria are really important in our substrate, but also when it's nice and porous like that, helps to increase the flow of water in your substrate, especially when you go really high at the back, which you always do, try to go high because we are increasing perspective in depth. And it helps us to create more layers with a higher bank substrate. So you'll probably see already what I'm going for here. Can you guess what kind of composition?
Triangle.
Yeah. The triangular composition will be the easiest to understand. Two of these, each one of them is what, 5 kilograms. And we'll go with the soil. We have here Tropica, proven performer, you know, used for many years. As most of, or all of technical aqua soils, it's produced by baking at high temperature from clay and volcanic ash. So it's really rich in nutrients. Plants need for healthy growth. It's also active substrate. When we talk about active substrate, it means it has a high cation exchange capacity, which means it pulls nutrients from the water column to your liquid fertilizer, and then it provides them to plant roots to use. So here, use 2 of them, and 1 bag of soil is already a nice height. This is what normally I would use this technique all the time when I'm doing scapes at home as well, because it gives you that base for your hardscape and it's easier to balance it. You know, it's not wobbly and falling apart all the time on you. So what I have here, so we're going to use the driftwood, and I'll try and lay these pieces here. Today I'm using a few pieces of, it's a mix of anything. It's actually 3 different kinds of driftwood. which it's probably good to show you as well, that because we always recommend to use the same type of rock, same type of wood. So the Aquascape is more, we call it like a coherent. It has a coherent theme, so there's not too many differences in the textures and the shapes. But sometimes when we don't have that opportunity to find maybe the best piece that fits our idea or the space we wanted, we can just improvise and try to find a piece that is from different kind of wood, but it has some similarity, which we will see later. Right, so this is the Mojo wood. This is the piece when I saw straight away, it spoke to me. I really worked with that idea of I was having the plants choices, because I want to create some flow, a natural feel in the aquascape, more like a river feel, with the swaying plants at the back. And this has just a perfect direction. You can already see that it flows perfectly, and I like, when I'm choosing my driftwood, I like old character, you know, like sharp edges. So I would prefer maybe this kind of wood to, let's say, more smoother lines, like a redmore roots and stuff like that. So I'm starting with the largest piece here. Just position it. As best possible. You can already see that. I want it a little bit in the angle, pointing towards the top corner here, because it's going nice, it's in this diagonal feel. So I need some rock to hold it in place. Any questions? Feel free to ask any, stop me at any time.
Are you confident that's not going to float?
Sorry?
Are you confident that's not going to float?
Well, I'll look after it later anyway. We'll get to that point as well, but that's a good question, yeah. I always like to glue my hardscape. Sometimes we try to use the stones to veg them, but I'm thinking about long-term maintenance all the time. So if I do it for myself at home, I'm thinking if I get some algae issues at the start, normally we do. At some point, some type of algae, I usually struggle maybe with diatoms, which is very common the first maybe 2 months. Diatoms will usually stop in my tanks after like 3 weeks. And then if you need to brush the rocks off and the wood, you want to have it stable so you're not knocking things over. So even if it's like wedged in and doesn't float, normally I would just glue it anyway.
Yeah.
I have here the second piece. It's the same as Mojo wood. Oh, that's good.
As you're putting this together, you keeping in mind where you're wanting your plants to go, or you purely focused on like the hardscape?
Normally purely on the hardscape, yes.
Yeah.
But with this kind of composition, it's going to be quite easy because I already know that I'll have a foreground, I'll have a midground, and I'll have a background. Classic nature aquarium is the way we are going. So there's going to be space for every kind of plant.
Yeah.
Took off as much as I could. So when you look at this piece here, you already see what's the best feature on it. This is boring. We're going to hide this behind that piece. You'll only see this, which we want. And it flows really well in the textures and the branches on this wood. this matches it perfectly, following the line and the flow. So I forgot to tell you what type of rock it is. Nobody's interested in knowing. This is a black North rock from probably all heard about them. The Polish Aquascaper, also the supplier of protostone, and that's a new type of stone, which is a, what do you call the new stone? Wild rhino stone. So what I like about this rock is because the main focus will be on the wood, the texture, and flow and direction. So this stone works really well as a natural, it's like a supplement to the other hardscape material we're using. That doesn't have to be too detailed, but at the same time it looks really natural. It has a nice color and shapes basically. So they're more sharp, edgy, uneven. So it's very easy to combine as well.
Do you tend to mix your rocks?
Rocks normally no.
No.
Just try to stick with the same thing. Yeah. Unless it's too similar that you don't see the difference, but rocks no. What do I have?
Even though you've picked bits of wood, you sometimes find yourself doing like you're doing there, picking bits out and then rearranging and constantly.
Yes.
So I've found that you put it in, and 5 minutes later that bit's.
Yeah. At home we have time. We can practice a lot. They always advise people, take your time. Don't rush. Look at the hardscape 2 days later, 3 days later. You'll see that. Oh, okay, I'll do it differently. Can move it, and then at the end, just glue it. And if you don't glue it, don't glue it. But if you glue it, try to do that at the end, last bit. So this is actually, you can actually see here. This is different type of wood. This is structure wood, but I think it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
This part is flowing really well with this, so it connects it well, and then this is creating more tension to the other side. But the texture wise and color is quite similar. So it works really well. It just shows you that we don't have to really go for one type of wood. And at the end, after a while, the piece of wood will be dark. It will look the same. But if I put here, let's say, a piece of redmore, which is completely nice and smooth, it will not work that well. Let's see from this side. So this is another structure wood. You can see here already. This is flowing with this again. Then this is going different direction, but I'll try to maybe turn it slightly. So it's not too straight up. Place it here. This is also creating nice balance. So it fills this space, which is not, we are not relying only for plants to fill it. We are trying to balance it also with the textures and the colors. when you have it tank fully planted, imagine that you will have only hardscape on this side. This will be empty but filled with plants. But you will be missing the balance of the hardscape, of the different, the color, because it's going to be dark brown. Oh, I left the sticker here as well. And see how it goes. So this is another piece of Mojo, small, and this is classic Bangalore bogwood, which you're probably thinking, oh, it's a bit different, or the texture on it, will match these kind of textures. This bit here. Let me see.
When you're like creating tension, what is it that you're looking for?
The opposite direction.
The opposite direction. Is there like a specific thing that you're like, oh, this needs to have more balance here, or
no, like let's say in instance in this case, I could go with the harmony, just everything will be flowing this way.
Yeah.
But then after a while it might get boring a little bit because you're looking always at the same flow direction. So if you do something like you turn a piece of wood going the other way, it creates that tension and with less or irregularity.
Yeah.
Sorry guys.
I'm not even going to try and say that.
Yeah. I like that here. So when I'm preparing, let's say I had a bit of play around in the dojo yesterday, and when you're trying to do the same thing in a tank in front of the people, it never really works. Some aquascapers actually don't do that because then you're trying, hard to replicate what you've already done.
I think you tend to try and force a piece of wood that you
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but it's not going with the scape. That annoys you.
Pavol, at this stage, are you ever thinking about your ongoing maintenance, about getting around those bits of wood that are very close to the
I was
glass?
just thinking that as well.
Yeah, do you take that into consideration? Because I do,
Yeah.
because I know it's going to be a pain later on if I
Yeah.
can't get my hands and instruments
Yeah.
around it.
When you look at it closer, you can come up and see what I'm doing. Not of the single piece is touching the glass anywhere, but
Okay.
if I do it at home for myself, I wouldn't care. Because we're trying sometimes force it too much. Sometimes we go to the glass anyway,
Right.
and if it's the shallow area, you will not see any algae there. You don't clean it anyway.
No.
You'll
Sure.
cover the plant sometimes as well.
Yeah.
But it causes issue with flow.
Sure.
If I have a lily pipe here, this is another aspect you have to think about the flow, which is very important in the tank. If I have a lily pipe here, then I'll place the piece of vertical wood here touching the glass, the flow will stop.
Right.
And it goes nowhere else. Then you need to put down the filter at the back.
And what are the consequences of that for you if that
I
reduces
run 2 filters in that case.
Right.
Contest time anyway, so it's not an issue. And if I have let's say 90 plus this size, I would run only 1 filter, but then at the back I would place the small wave maker.
Right.
To continue the flow at least, to get the nutrients and CO2 around the tank.
Sure.
I always do a little wave test for the front of the tank.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not only not
After
the hot
3 beers.
people.
Do it after 3 beers and you're all right.
As long as I'm getting all these
I know me as well, like a toddler that's been playing in the swimming pool covered in water.
Basically, this is the main concept I want to go for here. You can see this piece. I will try to lean towards front a little bit so it creates a shadow here.
How would you secure that?
I have to glue it. Put some rock here maybe. Try and glue it. Now the rock will also weigh down the whole structure. Then I'll glue it there. I'll try to connect everything.
Yeah.
And then let's say if the rock is here, it doesn't look very natural. I'll just cover it with fern or something.
Yeah. And it'll fill it.
So what do you think, guys? Is it balanced now, you reckon?
It looks great. Yeah. Both.
That's a good angle actually, that will be the viewing point if you had it in your living room.
I think that extra piece you're holding there just, like you're saying.
Can you hold this for me Eddie, so I can check?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Down by 2
Down a bit,
millimeters.
down a bit.
React a bit. Oh, fire.
I'll get scape and 80.
Good stuff, man.
Better for all the slides.
I'll take it from here.
So I'll be happy with this. Just now I need to start trying and securing and putting rocks on.
Did you ever use epoxy?
Never tried it,
It's really good.
but it takes time.
Yeah.
to
25 minutes.
secure it. 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
Maybe easier to take Frankfurt during Hardscape.
It didn't take me once.
You have to hold it. Just hold it for 5 minutes.
I use we can use Eddie to hold it then. No, yeah, I tend to use super glue because it just works fast,
Yeah.
you know.
It is quick.
So there's going to be a gap of maybe 1 inch here for the front glass, plenty for a toothbrush or a scraper to get in here. That's the only closest point. Yeah. Probably thinking what I'm going to use this for. Here, I like to use paper or for the large gaps, you know, the cotton wool. But cotton wool usually takes more glue. Paper is more economical. It absorbs really well.
Would you try and mask it with anything, or are you just going to have plants
Yeah,
cover it?
soil. Yeah, so if I would be connecting light colored rocks, I would use sand.
And sprinkle it over it, yeah.
And I find sand is even better.
Yeah.
It makes like a crust, you know, and then I put more glue over it, and then I put more sand, and then more glue and sand.
Yeah.
And then when I have to escape my tanks, then I have to take the whole thing into pieces, you know, like that.
Yeah.
But it holds really well, and you're
Yeah.
surprised.
I use my wife's eye makeup remover pad. It cost me nothing. She doesn't even know I nicked them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used that before as
Can't
well.
worry, they're great. Really, good, nice, powerful. Yeah.
It's cost you nothing yet.
No, no. Yeah.
Until I tell her.
I use them,
So you tell
you
her.
use them all, and she's looking for them, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't remember going through that quick.
Yeah, no, they're pretty good. Because if you want a good base and a nice shaped and
Yeah.
especially for rock and things, yeah, Hardscape is nice.
It's the other nighttime hobby. Putting makeup on.
Only at the weekends.
Have you ever glued something in place and thought after, I need to move that?
And then after?
Yeah.
Usually wood, yes. Wood will work in the water.
Yeah.
Like the rocks, when you lots of glue, it's fine. But the wood always works. I mean, sometimes you lose the connection.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea to try and glue with two places.
Yeah.
So in an ideal situation, say you were doing this at home, would you leave, I know super glue works really fast, okay, but would you leave it to cure for any length of time? Or do you go ahead
I normally work on the hardscape longer, so it's,
Yeah.
But you don't have to wait.
No, it's okay.
It cures straight away. Let's say when we do like a live contest, you have time to build a tank for like maybe you have time 6 hours, so leave that time.
Yeah.
It just works fast.
Watch out for that stuff. It's my nemesis, that thing. I've got some of my jeans. Yeah. I've got some of my tracksuit that burned through the tracksuit and onto my leg. Aye. Accidental accident. Yeah.
In this case, I'm using a little bit of soil just to sprinkle over it.
I always forget to do this bit and then I just hand on the gas. So it's a plant.
The worst bit's when you dribble on the wood, you don't realise if you take it's a massive white patch.
It's worse when you dribble on the glass.
Yeah. Are you a dribbler, eh?
Are you also thinking about what type of fish you'd use in there?
That's the last.
Is that the last one for like scaping? You wouldn't be thinking.
No, that's the last thing I would
Yeah.
think about. I'm running my tank sometimes for 2-3 months with fish, just the algae eaters. Good stuff, thank you.
So I really am skating in a rush because I've seen something I want to stop with.
Sounds like running.
Work backwards, quick. Because I think that's my worst thing I've got is it's the impatience of doing that and leaving it. See, I couldn't sit in the house with that. I'd be like,
I suppose completely the opposite
Yes.
to that. Completely the opposite.
Oh,
You can't
it's
I
all
love
when
just
it's
sitting
dry,
watching
it
everything.
can be.
That's what's lit.
That's why I like the details as well, because when it is growing and you've still got them to hold your interest, it's not just thinking about that end result.
I
It's
think
like
I enjoy
living
that
with it.
process. But in reality now I'm just like, let's go. I've seen the perfect stock.
You finish your tank, you're not starting to fish, you put your barbers in, and then they spend that time now getting around the zone of the soil. And chucking it out on them.
Like, right, it's gone.
Yeah.
You thinking all soil or sand?
Not always sand. But only here. I don't think we're gonna go with the sand all the way around, you know. Can I plant this more?
Yeah.
Oh, there's another room to cover. Yes, I'm going to put more soil now at the back. Just gives me the idea of the height.
This is why you need it glued.
Yeah. And this is the point I drop it, the bag, and it just shatters all the glue.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a bit where I find out I've glued it well because it comes apart in a massive chunk, but
Yeah.
it still comes apart.
I use a tiny little cup to
So,
put my soil in.
I've got me little scoops.
I went to do like the waft catch just like that, and I've got my branch actually comes out through that and just cut it, say karate chop it, and it just
Oh no.
Projectile soil everywhere.
it didn't go that far.
I went.
It only reached the kitchen.
My wife remembered why I wasn't allowed tanks in the house.
Wasn't the water going everywhere further?
Like Oase is if you've got like above the surface, try to net these out. It does my head. You always catch it on the net.
Oh yeah.
Then there's problems you can't foresee. A little tank in the hallway, the cat drinks out of it. So that all the twigs that are sticking out the top, they're just covered in cat hair. I can't clean them off because I daren't touch it.
We've still got that one little branch with the BBA on it.
Yeah, the whole, there's quite a few of them little branches.
I quite like
in here.
I like BDA and some on the wood, it's actually, it's quite a nice texture in certain places.
That's my
No,
worst
it's
technique.
not.
It's quite really hard, but quite nice. When you low tech in the corner, when it's sort of a box.
Looks fluffy, fluffy.
It looks better on wood than it does on plastic plants.
Maybe I'll just do that scape just as a VBA scape.
Yeah.
Just take everything else out.
The only time it won't grow.
Yeah. I can't do it. It never seems to grow for me.
Take everything out, it disappears.
How do you intend to stop
I'm actually thinking, what if I just left like a sand space here, like a small beach, and then growing with the soil over here? I don't like to use mostly, I like to use uniform foreground.
So you've got a plan for the planting in the foreground?
There's lots of plants here.
There is lots of plants.
A bit of everything.
Would you do anything to stop the soil and sand mixing, or just leave it
Yeah,
to
I'll
the
go through that as well.
And then James and Nicole.
Yeah, somebody else's problem.
There's magnets, it's fine.
Mostly these days I'll just use the gravel.
Yeah.
The natural transition, you know, if you plant, we'll go through that anyway. When I plant, and I'll plant slightly behind the gravel, the plants will grow over. I will stop, you know, it will block that border. Let's go with more rocks.
They fit together really well, don't they?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to use them.
They've got like enough
Because they
texture,
have-
interesting, but not to be
flat
like
sides,
going
yeah,
against
so
each other.
Easy to combine.
It's definitely better than what British use.
You look like you could sort of get away with throwing them, and it would probably, it wouldn't look totally wrong.
No, no. I look at a lot of the ADA tanks on the foregrounds, they use stone similar to that.
Yeah,
They
with
use
just
stone.
just enough texture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What's that called again? Because that's the equivalent, isn't it? That's
North. Like
that's
north.
not black stone. But
The
the
equivalent of ADA.
ADs
More like, what do you call it? Sensory?
they've got essentially mountain stone and
Yeah,
it's
something
not
like
mountain, so I can't remember what it's called. It's pretty similar. Because when you were onto black stones, there was always black lava stone, but that's what's great for black dog. What's that?
Something smaller there.
Do you ever have to worry about how much stone you put in an aquarium? I haven't, but I've got a friend whose daughter's gone, oh, too much stone, and you'll crack it.
Not really. It probably goes more on your cabinet more than our else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it's your cabinets that's taking all the hit as such more than the
Sure.
actual tank.
Most rocks, I think it's pretty similar to the water. If you actually pick up like
Yeah, no, no.
water, it's a similar way. I think it's
He
just
can't get his head
distillation.
around. He can't get his head
Yeah.
around it, and I just say, don't worry about it. Just
Yeah.
That's why you see a lot of marine tanks have steel cabinets because they're all rock
Right.
and they
Yeah.
go crazy, don't they? Because
Yeah.
obviously that's the mount for corals and
Of course,
stuff.
yeah.
Even most of that rock's quite lightweight. It looks it's porous anyway. So
Or some of it is heavy, like.
like the base rocks and stuff. Yeah.
Do you use like the plastic? What's it called?
Egg crate.
Egg crates at the bottom.
Yeah, I use it sometimes.
Just polystyrene.
Just a little bit there. Just fits that little bit there, right? The very front. Just fits that.
Well, yeah, just use like a bit of polystyrene. Like, it spreads the weight.
Go on, Eddie, get your name on it.
Just if you can put enough weight on it. Suddenly the scape just comes up. Nah, I'd only use it if it's like a really heavy one, like just not. Did that actually construct it? It's like some thin polystyrene, and then smash it around so it kind of get cut with the can in, and it just went. So I guess we'll just try and take it. Comes back in the face.
I think that's creating a nice line here and there. I'm just doing open space. Some nice little planting. I'm going to use this sand here first. From Hugo Natural. It's a nice natural color. The reason I'm choosing this is because the size of the grains. So it's going to be also easy to plant them, especially when you use carpeting plants in the foreground.
Would you often replace the sand, like over the course of the lifetime?
Only in the front.
Yeah.
This is going to stay there, for planting. The plants will be growing over it.
You go, Pavol. Now you can just pour it in. Whatever that.
Thank you, Mayas.
Never feel it.
Yeah, there's a couple bits of soil here that bother me, but after first water change, you'll have to just siphon them.
You use the gravel underneath just to stop the sand compacting so much.
You mean this area here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that also helps to
Grade it.
grade the. It's more natural. It's quite a lot of open space actually. And we also have the aqua gravel from ADA. I'm just going to use that as a another transition and more details, which also has nice, very nice colors, and there's also that grey and dark that will match the rocks very well.
There's a little pot here as well, you know, Pavol.
Sorry?
There's a little pot here if you'd rather put it in.
Yeah, it's too long. Actually, in this area here, I'll probably put the rock in here. If I plant in front of it, you'll never see that rock. It will have the function of stopping the soil. I think it's on. Hardscape wise. Just a bit of different texture. And also consider when you're considering the plants, try to maybe combine the plants for textures with the same speed of growth, which in this case will work really well. Probably the fastest grower here will be mini hairgrass. Biomaster grows very slow. Cryptocorynes grow slow. Just mix them up. So yeah, let's start. So we'll start with the foreground in this case. Sometimes we can start from the background if you like, but in this case I think it will work better if I start from the foreground because the plants I'm going to use at the back are more taller grasses. Then they will just fall over and be my way all the time. It's a lot of plants. Yeah, so we have Biomaster mauritiana, then we have cryptocoryne albida brown, cryptocoryne parva, Biomaster brasiliensis, mini hairgrass, as I mentioned, Marcellera crenata. So for all these plants I'll use thinner tip, almost like a needle. It's easier to plant. Just, yeah, let's go. Sure, maybe spray it first. I always like to spray my soil first to make it more compact so it doesn't move around when I'm planting. Also to provide the plant with some moist. And you also wash off some dirt from the hardscape, like remaining soil from the glue. And it also gives you some idea how a hardscape looks underwater. See already, the rocks are already dark already. So I'm deliberately planting because there's not enough thickness here in the sand, so I'm planting a bit further at the back, and the plants will just spread forward naturally. If you want to keep the sand more space and cleaner, we can just keep pulling out the runners. Thanks for preparing plants, guys. Very nice portions. Must be professional, yeah?
Tropica hit me up.
Yeah, the most plants here are from Tropica, some are from Aquatics. Yeah, what others?
Yeah.
Just those two? Or
As far as I know, yeah.
anybody want to plant as well, maybe? Nobody?
Don't want to mess it up for you.
No. Somebody can plant one side, can plant the other side. You know?
If you want a hand, just give a shout.
If you want, if you want.
It's up to you.
No, no.
I'm afraid to say no.
Not from you.
I can do just this half here. And
You sure?
yeah, sure.
Stick with the hair,
Do you want thinner ones? For the I should have it now. No, I don't. It's probably too chunky maybe. Yeah.
That's his excuse.
Maybe James will have it. Yeah, maybe James will.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just stick with the hair.
Some Aquavitro.
Yeah.
Aquavitro.
I should use it,
And we're going to also mix in some Willisi brasiliensis. Bring her down as well. It's going to be slightly thicker. Leaves. It's probably off there, is it?
Yeah.
Just move it beside.
It's a really hard plant, isn't it?
You see, I picked the easy spot.
It's all rock.
Yeah, but just move it for here, maybe. Yeah. And also, we also can tolerate a bit of shadow as well, so we can easily plant it, when I know this is going to be shallow here, it's going to be fine. You can also, if you feel, you can put some parva here. You know.
It's over here.
It's over here. There's nothing there. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm doing Blixa. This is it only comes in a tissue culture because it's a fully submerged plant. The highlight will give us nice orange tint on the tips, and it will create more volume here. That's an easy plant. That's the first carpeting plant I ever grown. Sagittarius subulata. I don't know why they call it dwarf Sag, because it can grow really tall. That's why I'm using it here at the back. Actually, originally I wanted Molisneria nana. It's kind of quite hard to get from any nursery at the moment. Which is also fully submerged plant. I wanted to mix it in with plants with nice fine texture, but then I was talking to Ace yesterday, and it's just, oh, why you just use the Sagittarius subulata, you can leave it grow and it grows tall anyway. If you don't trim it. If you trim it, you know, we can, with the Sagittarius subulata, the first trim I will do very harshly. I will just cut it to the ground, to the soil.
Have you tried Supercell 5?
Yeah, it's gonna go in.
That's going to go in.
Yeah. It's gonna be like a main plant. I'm gonna mix it with the cryptocoryne balansae.
I'll just pull it all mine out. Probably a bit of.
Is there any plants that you prefer using for like transitions, or you've got like favourites that you like to use?
Really? Crips will work well. The Blixa would work well. Lower stem plants, you know, Rotala green will work well. If you were going for the fully stem plant at the back. Perfect. So we have dwarf sage, which goes big. probably well separated.
Because you've got all that help at the start.
Yeah.
Trying to slow you down a little.
Sorry?
That and Tenellum are horrible at plant.
Oh yeah. Much similar, yeah.
Yeah, it's because they're all curled up in the pot.
Yeah. Then after 3 days, it's
Yeah, straight.
getting nice. Yeah.
When you already planted it.
So what we have left are Alocaris montevidensis, Cyperus alferi. Anything else missing? Yeah, Cryptocoryne balansae, yes, as well.
Willisi, the juncus repens.
Oh yes, that as well. Well, yeah, so let's go with juncus repens first. Juncus repens.
You've got pinch feeder, but I use that as measuring bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes.
Ready?
How many pots of juncus repens is there?
You've got 6 altogether.
Oh.
We've done 3.
Yeah, that's plenty. That's plenty. 3 is plenty. Yeah. you know, it looks a bit strange right now, and it's not adapting to its natural environment. It's not growing naturally. So let's try it. Okay. Just remove this one.